Today I'm going to be showing you a few moves that you can do 6 months post-spinal surgery. As many of you know, I recently underwent a pretty invasive spinal surgery, so I've been doing these moves for about 11 months now. Just a little disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or a physical therapist, but I was given all these moves by my licensed physical therapist in New York, and I've been working with them for about 11 months. All right, let's get into it.
The first move I will be doing is a pelvic tilt. Now, this is a very, very small movement. You start with a neutral spine with your legs hip-width apart and your feet flat on the ground. All you're going to be doing is focusing on pulling in and up from your lowest, deepest abdominal muscles. This contraction will help you tilt your pelvis towards your belly button. You want to pull it in, pause for a second, and release back to neutral spine. Pull it in, pause for a second, and release back to neutral spine. You really want to focus on pulling your hips bones like towards your ribs. There should be maybe a 1/2 inch gap from you and the floor. Make sure your shoulders are down and relaxed, so not crunched up by your ears. Do a little test, make sure they're down. Your chin should not be splayed backwards or too far forwards. It should be in line with the rest of your body, and your head and neck should be aligned with the rest of your spine. I do 10 reps and then rest, 10 reps, rest, and 10 reps again, making it 30 total. Next move will be a single leg lift. We'll start again from this neutral spine, the same position as your pelvic tilt, and you will just extend one leg. The muscles that you want to feel engaged and actually helping you lift up the leg are those same lower abdominal muscles, as well as the back muscles of your hamstrings. You want to make sure that you don't hike your hip up and that your hips remain level and square the entire time. You also want to maintain correct alignment, so you want to make sure that your leg is not splaying out, that it's pointed straight in front of you, and that there's no turnout from your hips. You should be feeling your abs engaged this entire time. You also want to make sure you don't let your leg just flop to the ground. This should be a very slow and very controlled movement, and you should, like I said, use the back of your hamstring to help you lower your leg to the ground. You also want to make sure you don't go too high with the leg so that you stay in that lower abdominal strength area. So as you can see, my leg doesn't really go much higher than my other knee. Again, I do it 10 reps, break, and I do that 3 times on both sides. I have my toes pointed for this, but you're also allowed to have them flexed as well. So I think it's kind of up to you, but you just want to make sure that you're not turned out in any way. I like to put my hands on my stomach and just kind of make sure that I'm engaged the whole time. These exercises only work if they're being done the proper way, so it's not even worth it to rush through them. Just make sure you give them enough time, and like I said, just take it very, very slow. The next move you're going to do is leg extended to the side with a flexed foot. So you're going to be in the same position, neutral spine, shoulders not by the ears, neck in line with the spine, chin relaxed, and you're just going to take one leg at a time, and you're going to use your inner abs, your outer thigh, and your inner thighs to shift your leg from center out to each side. You are allowed to point and flex your foot in this exercise, so I just kind of switch off. Honestly, I'm not sure which one is better. So use your judgment, or maybe ask your therapist what they think. Again, you don't want to splay out too far with this, so you want to make sure you only go as far to the side as you can while maintaining that connection to your lower abs and maintaining that perfect form. I do it on each side, 10 reps times 3. Next move is your side leg lift. So for this, you want to go ahead and lie on your side. You want to start with your bottom arm underneath your head and your top arm in front of you, 90 degrees, supporting the line of your body. Most important thing for this one is that your body always stays in perfect alignment. So from your head down to your foot, you shouldn't be sticking your butt out. You shouldn't be like arching or curving your spine. You should maintain a really straight line from your shoulders all the way basically down to your ankle and your foot. I like to put my hands on my hips and sometimes on my belly to make sure that I'm not splaying out at any time. You want to hold your abs in from your ribs down to your lower abs. Use those as well as your outer glute muscles and inner thigh muscles to help lift this leg up and down from the ground. You can choose to lay on your hand the way that I was doing at first, or if it's not comfortable, you can change to resting your head on your hand like I'm showing here. Again, maintaining perfect alignment, going very, very slow, and making sure you can feel this movement from your lower abs all the way to your outer thighs. Again, you don't want to rely on gravity or speed for this. You want to go very, very slow. When you're done, you can go ahead and switch to the other side and do everything the same on that side as well. Again, maintaining perfect form and perfect alignment. I tend to like laying on my arm. I don't know why, it just feels better to me. So really you can pick whichever you like, but this is my preferred. All right, the next move is going to be your hip thrust or bridges, as a lot of people call them. So you want to be in that same neutral spine to start. You want to lift your hips up. Your feet should be hips distance, knees hips distance. You want to start from that neutral spine, hold in your lowest abdominals, and lift your butt up using the backs of your hamstrings and also your lower abs to lift you up. You want to make sure you're not splaying your butt too far forward or backwards. You want to maintain a pretty straight line. As you can see, I have a straight line kind of coming from my ribs to my hips on the way up. You want to do these very, very slow. You want to focus, like I said, on engaging those lower abs as well as the backs of your hamstrings and kind of that spot where your butt meets the back of your hamstrings. All right, this one is super silly looking, but basically you just lie on your belly with your forehead on your hands like I have shown here. You put your legs out behind you facing the back of your mat, and you literally just squeeze. You focus on squeezing the outside of your butt muscles. So it's like you're squeezing a credit card or like a penny or a dollar bill between your butt cheeks is literally what you're doing. So you do this 30 times and then pause and then 30 times again, because this one isn't too hard, but you want to go very, very slow so you can actually feel those outer glute muscles engaging. Those outer glute muscles are what are going to help your hips be stable and your pelvis be stable. So my outer glute muscles are very, very weak. So this is an exercise my PT gave me to help to try and strengthen those. The next move is a half Superman, is what I like to call them. So you're still in that same position as that outer glute squeeze exercise, but you're lifting one leg up at a time in the back. I do 10 and pause, 10 and pause, 10 and pause, and do that on both sides. This one also you want to do very, very slow. What you're focusing on engaging is that space again between your hamstrings and your butt. You're also kind of focusing on those outer glutes to keep everything aligned so you're not splaying out to the side at all. You're maintaining straight alignment. This is helping to strengthen the top of your butt, also the back hamstring that we spoke about. You just don't want to overdo it. You don't want to raise your leg too far that you create a hyperextension in that lower back. You don't really want too much of a curve in that lower back. This is one of my favorite exercises. Most people know this one, but you want to get in kind of this weird figure 4 type position with your hands behind your knee and your other foot 90 degrees, across your knee there, like you can see I'm just doing it quickly here, but what you want to do is you want to hold this position for at least 1 minute on each side. You can do that 3 times on each side, or if you really want to, you can hold it on each side individually for 3 minutes. You don't want to pull this too hard. You don't want to overstretch anything. So make sure you just get right to the place where you feel the stretch and then just gently hold it there. You want to make sure that you're not hiking your shoulders up to your ears and that you still maintain that really neutral chin, neutral neck, and neutral shoulders while doing this. All right, so now we're going to go into a cat-cow. You want to make sure that those lower abs are engaged when you're doing this and that you have perfect alignment from your knees to your hips, back to your feet, etc. You want to start with a few cat-cows, and then we're just going to lift our arms on one side maintaining that lower belly engagement, really pulling that in. You're gonna hold each arm for about 10 seconds and then switch. Once you feel pretty good and stable with that, you're gonna alternate lifting both alternate legs and arms at the same time, holding for about 20 to 30 seconds and then switching. Before I start any of these, you can see I'm engaging my lower abs. I'm really getting that kind of cat so that I don't hyperextend my back when I lift my arms and legs up. And I make sure everything is really pulled in tight before I begin. Again, I'm doing these quickly here just as demo, but you're supposed to hold these on each side for at least 20 seconds. I do about 3 or 4 of these on each side, depending on how I'm feeling. You also don't need to go as high as I'm going, so if you need to do it lower, that's also totally acceptable. Make sure you're not splaying your leg up or to the side or back. You want to maintain that perfect alignment. All right, so then this one stretches the front body. What I do is I usually hold either a wall or a staircase, or in this case, I'm holding a foam roller. You want to stand with your feet hip distance apart. Make sure everything is well aligned, and then slowly, if you can, reach back and grab your foot. You want to make sure that your knees stay in line and that you're not arching your back too far forward or too far back. See how I'm kind of perfectly straight in my front body? You should feel this stretch all the way through the front of your abs, your psoas, down the front of your thighs. I'm really maintaining alignment here. As you can see, I'm trying my hardest to keep my hips in alignment. One hip's not skewed really high or really low. I hold this for about 30 seconds on each side and then switch. You can also hold it for a minute each side or even longer. It really just depends how you're feeling. My abs are engaged during this whole move, so make sure you're focused on keeping that engagement. The next is one of my favorite PT exercises because it's so easy. It's a calf stretch. For this, you're just going to want to find any step and just do what I've done here. So you're just going to place the front of your foot on the step and allow your heel to just relax down in the back. The other leg can just kind of hang out. Then after you allow it to kind of sit there, pause for 30 seconds, I kind of do like a walking motion. This is good to not only stretch your calf, but to also kind of strengthen your ankles. If you want to let the other leg just droop down next to the working leg, you also can do that as well. That's a good option.
I hope you enjoyed those exercises. I really hope they help you regain some strength and confidence in yourself after you just underwent a pretty intense surgery. I'm rooting for you. I know it's hard now, but trust me, it'll get easier and you got this.